On a humid Friday night in the city, one rideshare ping changed everything. It turned what should have been a simple curbside pickup into a lesson about power, prejudice, and who you judge before you know their story. Jordan Lewis had been driving for hours. The glow from his phone lit up the interior of his compact sedan, the rideshare app chiming every few minutes with new requests. He wasn't rich, he wasn't famous, just a hard-working black man trying to pay off student loans and keep his younger brother in community college. Driving nights meant less sleep and more caffeine, but it also meant bigger tips from people coming home from bars, restaurants, and shows downtown. He parked legally in the passenger loading zone outside a busy theater, hazard lights blinking. The app showed a pickup named Alex, 5-star rating, profile photo too small to make out clearly. Jordan glanced at the curb. People spilled out of the building, laughing couples, groups of friends, a few people already holding up their phones to order their own rides. He checked the street signs again, no turns and passenger loading only. He was exactly where he was supposed to be. He exhaled and sent the automatic text through the app. "Hi, it's Jordan, your driver. I'm in the silver sedan right out front." 2 blocks away, Officer Mark Delaney steered his patrol car through downtown traffic, jaw clenched. He'd been on the force nearly 15 years, and in his mind, the city had only gotten more chaotic. More protests, more cameras, more people talking back instead of just doing what he said. His supervisor kept nagging him about community trust and treating everyone with respect, which to Mark just sounded like code for be soft. He saw Jordan's car idling at the curb with its hazard lights blinking, and something in him tightened. He didn't see the passenger loading only sign. He didn't see dozens of other rideshares doing the same thing. What he saw was a black man in a dark polo sitting alone in a car in front of a busy building late at night, holding up his phone. "Great," Mark muttered. "Either an illegal stop or someone dealing out of his front seat." Instead of driving past like every other cruiser that had seen the same scene that night and kept moving, he swung in behind Jordan, flipped on his lights, and hit the siren once. Red and blue flooded the street. Conversations halted. Heads turned. Jordan flinched, heart pounding. He had been careful all night. No rolling stops, no speeding, no illegal turns. He was parked exactly where the app told him to wait. Still, the sight of the flashing lights in his rearview mirror made his stomach drop. He set his phone in the cup holder, took a deep breath, and put his hands visibly on the steering wheel, fingers spread. Outside, Mark strode toward the car, posture already aggressive, one hand out as if he could push the vehicle back by force of will alone. The other hovered near his holster. A few people on the sidewalk slowed, watching. One young woman reflexively lifted her own phone. "Hey," Mark shouted, voice booming through the windshield. "What do you think you're doing? You can't sit here. Step out of the vehicle. Hands where I can see them." Jordan's pulse roared in his ears. He kept his hands exactly where they were. "Officer," he said, pitching his voice loud enough to be heard, but as calm as he could manage. "I'm a rideshare driver. I'm waiting on a passenger named Alex. I've got the app right here if you want to see it." "I didn't ask for your life story," Mark snapped, slamming his palm against the hood to punctuate his words. "I told you to step out of the vehicle, now." The slap of his hand on the metal made Jordan jump. On the sidewalk, a few more people pulled out their phones. The theater marquee lights reflected off the windshield, mixing with the flashing patrol car lights, turning the whole scene into a flickering, distorted picture.
If you think this little guy is cute, please hit like and subscribe, or else this man will knock on your doorstep tomorrow.
"Sir, my hands are up," Jordan replied, lifting them off the wheel and pressing them against the glass so they were clearly visible. "I'm not a threat. I'm working. This is my job. My license and registration are in the glove compartment. I can get them slowly if—" "Don't reach for anything!" Mark barked, eyes hard. "I'll get them myself. Step out." Jordan swallowed. Every story he'd ever heard, every video he'd ever seen of traffic stops gone wrong flickered through his mind. He also knew that refusing to exit the car could make things worse. Slowly, keeping one hand still raised, he picked up his phone with the other and tapped the screen so the Rideshare app and his profile were clearly displayed. "I'm going to step out, but I'm holding my phone. I'm recording this for my safety." He turned the screen so it faced Mark. "You can see the app. I'm not hiding anything." Mark's lip curled. Recording made his skin crawl. He saw it as an act of disrespect. "Oh, so you're one of those. You think your little video is going to make you a star? You blocking traffic, loitering at the curb, and now you're resisting orders? Turn the phone off and step out of the car. Last warning." "Officer, I am not blocking traffic," Jordan said, his voice shaking despite his effort to keep it steady. "Look around. This is a loading zone. Every car is doing the same thing. I'm just trying to pick up my passenger and go home." Behind Mark, another car pulled into the next loading space. The driver saw the lights and backed out again, wanting no part of the scene. People continued to emerge from the theater, forming a half circle at a cautious distance. Some whispered, others looked furious, more phones were pointed toward the car. In the crowd, a middle-aged person in plain clothes stepped out from a side entrance, adjusting a blazer and scanning the curb. Their Rideshare app displayed the name Jordan, and the same silver sedan now lit up by police lights. This was Chief Alexandra or Alex Harris. The city's first black police chief had quietly ordered the ride as a matter of convenience after a late meeting with community leaders. She often used Rideshare when she didn't want to fuss with the official vehicle and driver, especially on nights like this when she wanted to slip out of work mode for just a moment. Alex spotted the make and model of the car, saw the license plate, and started toward it, only to realize a patrol cruiser was behind it, lights blazing, her officer pounding on its hood. Her stomach dropped. Up ahead, Mark circled toward the driver's side door, still in full command mode. "If you don't comply, I will pull you out of the vehicle myself. Do you understand me?" Jordan's hands shook just enough for the phone to tremble in his grasp. "I understand. I also understand that I'm not doing anything wrong. Please, just look at the app. My passenger's name is Alex. They're probably right out here." As if on cue, Alex Harris quickened her pace, the crowd parting slightly as she approached. She heard enough of Mark's tone to know this wasn't a simple parking check. "Officer Delaney," she called out sharply. Mark stiffened but didn't turn around yet. The voice was familiar, but his tunnel vision was locked onto Jordan. "Sir, I'm addressing you, not anyone else. Stop looking around and focus." "Officer Delaney." The voice came again, closer now, carrying a weight of command that made several onlookers instinctively straighten. What seems to be the problem here? Mark finally turned, annoyance already forming on his face. "Ma'am, this is an active—" He stopped mid-sentence when he saw who was standing a few feet away. Chief Harris stared at him, jaw tight, her Rideshare app still open in her hand. "I'll repeat the question," she said, voice cool. "What exactly is the problem?" Color drained from Mark's face. "Chief, I didn't realize you were here." "Oh, I'm not just here," she replied with her Rideshare app facing him. "I'm the passenger your officer is harassing at the curb." A ripple went through the crowd. A few people gasped. Someone whispered, "That's the chief?" And phones held aloft zoomed in. Jordan's eyes widened as he recognized the name on her app and the face he'd seen on the news. He looked between them, his heart still hammering. Mark scrambled for footing. "Chief, I was just investigating suspicious activity. This vehicle was illegally stopped. The driver was refusing lawful orders and possibly—" "Stop!" Alex said sharply. "Just stop." Her gaze shifted to Jordan. "Sir," she said, softening her tone, "are you okay?" Jordan let out a breath he'd been holding. I think so," he answered. "I'm just a driver. I'm here to pick up a passenger named Alex. That's you, right?" "It is," she confirmed. "And you are exactly where you're supposed to be. Legally." She turned back to Mark, her expression turning steel cold. "Officer Delaney, step away from the vehicle." He hesitated, then obeyed, backing up a few steps, his authority slipping with each inch. The crowd watched in absolute silence. "Let me be very clear," Alex said, her voice carrying across the sidewalk. "This driver is operating within the law. He is parked in a designated loading zone. He's not blocking traffic. He has identified himself as a rideshare driver, shown you the app, and offered to provide his documents."
Yet instead of de-escalating, you chose to pound on his hood, shout at him, and ignore his explanation. "Well, Chief, Mark started. She cut him off. "Did you at any point run the license plate through dispatch?" she asked. "Did you speak to him in a calm, professional manner before escalating? Did you consider that he might actually be exactly who he said he was?" Mark's mouth opened and closed. I felt the situation was potentially dangerous," he muttered. "Lots of people around. I needed to maintain control." "What made it dangerous?" Alex pressed. "The blinking hazard lights? The cell phone in his hand? His skin color?" The question landed like a slap. Mark bristled. "That's not fair," he protested. "I don't see race." "Then you're blind," Alex replied flatly. "Because he sees it. They," she gestured to the onlookers with phones, "see it. And I see an officer whose first instinct with a black driver at the curb is aggression, not assessment." Mark swallowed hard, eyes darting to the cameras pointed right at him. The reality sunk in. His words, his posture, his choices were already recorded from multiple angles. And now, standing in the middle of it all, his chief, his boss, had just publicly challenged him. Alex took a breath, grounding herself. Her job required both accountability and restraint. But what she just witnessed touched something personal, something raw. "Officer Delaney," she said, voice measured but unyielding, "return to your vehicle. You are relieved from this scene. I will speak with you at the station. Consider yourself on immediate administrative leave pending review." His face went pale. "Chief, that's not—" "That's an order," she said, eyes locked on his. "Now." He stared at her for another heartbeat, then turned stiffly and walked back to his cruiser. The lights clicked off, bathing the street in more natural darkness again. The crowd slowly exhaled. Some dispersed, others stayed, curious, phones still in hand. Alex shifted to the driver's side window, her demeanor softening as she addressed Jordan. "I'm so sorry for what you just went through. You did everything right. Is there anything you need right now?" Jordan looked at his trembling hands. He hadn't realized how tight his chest felt until that moment. "Honestly," he said, "I'd just like to finish this ride and go home in one piece." A faint smile tugged at the corner of her mouth. "I think we can manage that, if you're still willing to have me as a passenger, that is." He hesitated, then nodded. "If you're okay with cameras," he glanced at the phone, still pointed their way.
She gave a small shrug. "I live with cameras," she replied. "But if you'd rather cancel, I understand." "No," Jordan said, surprising himself. "I think it might actually help me to finish the trip, to prove to myself that this one moment doesn't get to define every night I'm out here." They drove away slowly, the city lights sliding past. In the rearview mirror, Jordan could see Alex in the back seat, watching him thoughtfully. After a minute, she spoke. "I started using Rideshare on purpose," she said quietly. "To see the city the way you all see it. To understand what it feels like to be stopped, questioned, watched. I've heard a lot of stories. Tonight, I saw one." Jordan let out a bitter chuckle. "And how does it look from back there?" he asked. "Ugly," she said honestly, "but fixable. Not with one speech or one training session. With a lot of work. With people willing to speak up. And people in my position willing to listen and act." He thought about that for a moment. "You know," he said slowly, "if you ever want a driver's perspective for those training sessions, I've got a few things I could say." She smiled, a real one this time. "I might take you up on that, Jordan," she replied, glancing at his name on the app. "We need more voices at the table, especially from people who don't wear a badge." When they reached her destination, a quiet side street near her apartment, she stepped out, then leaned down to look at him through the open door. "For what it's worth," she said, "you handled that stop with more composure than some officers I've worked with. You kept your hands visible, stayed calm, explained yourself clearly. You shouldn't have had to do all that just to survive a curbside pickup. But you did, and you deserve better." "Everyone does," he answered. Over the next weeks, the video of the encounter made its way around the city. People shared it with captions about courage, outrage, and relief that for once, someone in power had shown up at the right moment. Some accused the chief of making a spectacle. Others praised her for addressing the issue head-on. The department announced that Officer Delaney was under investigation and that new de-escalation and bias training modules would be rolled out, informed in part by civilian perspectives like Jordan's. A month later, Jordan found himself standing in front of a room full of officers, a little microphone clipped awkwardly to his collar. Chief Harris sat off to the side, listening. He told them what it felt like to have your heart leap into your throat at the sound of a siren, even when you've done nothing wrong. He described the way his hand shook on the steering wheel, not from guilt, but from fear. He talked about how many rideshare drivers swapped tips on which neighborhoods felt dangerous, not because of crime, but because of how they knew they'd be treated if they were pulled over there. He said, "I'm not anti-police. I'm pro-life, pro-dignity, pro-everyone getting home. When you walk up to a car, you're bringing the weight of every story that came before you. You don't control that, but you do control whether you add to the fear or help lift it." Some officers looked uncomfortable. A few nodded. Chief Harris watched their faces closely, cataloging who was open, who was resistant, and who was quietly moved. Later that night, back behind the wheel of his sedan, Jordan got another ping, another pickup, another stranger to drive through the city lights. He glanced at the no-turn sign as he pulled into a curbside zone, the memory of that night still vivid, but no longer choking him. He parked, turned on his hazards, and took a slow breath. Somewhere out there, someone was watching from a window, from a sidewalk, from a phone screen. Somewhere out there, an officer might roll by and see him. This time, he hoped, they'd see a man doing his job, not a problem to be solved. This story is a reminder that power without reflection can turn everyday moments into nightmares, and that real change begins when those in authority are willing to confront the harm done in their own ranks. It shows how important it is to listen, to record, to speak up, and to refuse to let fear be the final word. If this story touched your heart or opened your eyes, don't forget to like this video, share it with your family and friends, and subscribe for more stories that shine a light on justice, courage, and second chances. Thank you for listening. Stay safe, stay aware, and never stop demanding respect for yourself and for others.
Thank you for watching DASHCAM and Justice Stories. You love more stories like this? Click the videos above and see you there.